Well, welcome back to another Coffee and a Chat middle of the night edition, and I am determined to make this video. I had already made this video and I was wrapping it up when it cut off. And I believe that it was a spiritual attack. I really do, because of the content of this video. So that video was not something I could use. So we're going to do it again. And I'm going to trust that it's going to be even better than the first one. And that no matter what tries to stop it or come against it, God is going to have the victory on this. Okay, so almost 2 years ago, I think it was, that I started this channel. And I started it because I wanted to tell my story, my stories of things that I'd been through, things that had happened in my life. I wanted to share stories from other people and things that I'd been a part of or that I knew about or whatever, with the idea of also sharing how God is always in the story. And if my story in life is going to testify to anything or tell anybody about anything, I want it to tell them about Jesus. I do. That is, as an old woman that has gone through my life and lived quite the life, that is what's most important to me. Nothing else really matters. So, my life lately has been very busy. You see, I believe that our lives are a series of seasons, and we're always going through a season. And, and enjoy it while it's there. Like right now, one of the things in this season, even though it's a very busy one, I protect and really try to keep committed to make sure I have my time with the Lord every day, somehow, some way. And I try to prioritize it and make sure that happens before anything else. And so that it doesn't get missed. Well, I can't get enough of the word right now. As I read in my Bible, it is just so alive to me and convicting me and encouraging me and teaching me and washing me. And it's just, it's hard to say, okay, I'll just read this chapter, because no, how about another chapter? Oh, just one more. And it's very difficult to stop because it's just so good right now. And I'm trying to drink in as much as I can in this season, because I know that it probably won't always be that way for me. I'll hit other times when, it'll be not necessarily dry, although it could be, or I just kind of get a little something out of it, and that's good, and we go on, where I just kind of snack on it. But right now I'm feasting and I love it. So anyway, in this busy time, yesterday I was talking to the Lord about it, because there are things that normally I would be doing. I've got, like I would be calling my aunt and checking on her more. And my friend that's having some health problems, I'd be over there more. And there's just, different things that I would be doing, and I just honestly can't. It's just very hard to get enough things done in a day. And I'm not going to go into the details of why, what's so busy or anything, because too many people get hung up on those details, and then they take it on themselves to try to solve the problem or come up with, have you tried this or tried that? And they focus on that. And I don't want you focusing on why my life's so busy. I want you to focus on what I'm about to share with you. Okay, because that's the part that can change your life. And that's the part I care about. That's the part that has to do with Jesus. So, I was talking to him about these videos, because one of the things that I have had great difficulty getting done is making videos. Sometimes more than a week will go by and I haven't been able to do a video. And it's not that there hasn't been something to share, because see, besides just sharing my story, like was my intention to begin with, I've come to where I go ahead and make myself vulnerable with you. And I share the hard things that I'm going through. I share the mistakes I make. I share the lessons that I'm learning. Because if I'm going through something, or if I fail at something, or if I struggle with something, then odds are so do you, or somebody out there. And I just want to go ahead and share what I'm going through so you can relate, and let you know that no matter what it is that we're going through, Jesus is always the answer. He is. He's the answer to whatever it is that we face. Now, this is a lesson that I'm sharing with you tonight, because it is the middle of the night. So yesterday, when I was talking to the Lord, you see, it's not just about finding the time to do a video, but it's about finding the place. Because of some changes that have taken place, I no longer have that space that I can just go to, shut the door, and do a video. I don't have any place like that right now. And it's temporary, but it's what it is. And I don't know how long that temporary is going to be, because there's some unknown things that I'm dealing with. But finding a place where it's quiet and somebody's not going to be walking through or trying to talk to me, or needing something, or air conditioners turning on, and I've closed the door here, so hopefully if it turns on, it won't be too loud. But finding the place and the quiet is as challenging, maybe even more challenging, than finding the time. And so as I was talking to the Lord about it, because I've got videos I want to make, I've got things I want to tell you about and share with you, and it just is such a struggle in this season. So I also have this thing, as many of you know, where sometimes I just can't sleep at night. And I've gotten up and made a video, and I've spent time with the Lord, had a cup of coffee. I'm not doing that tonight, but simply because I didn't have any ready and it would take too much time. But I just wanted to be able to make a video. And I was thinking, lately I've been getting some good night's sleep. I haven't been getting up in the middle of the night. Everybody's been fine. And I really like getting my sleep. But, Lord, 3 o'clock seems to be the time you most love to get me up, when you wake me up. So here's the deal. If you wake me up tonight at 3 in the morning, then I'll know you want me to go make a video. And so I said, I'll do it, even though I'll be tired. And I thought about all the things that Jesus went through for me that wasn't pleasant for him, but he did it because he knew I needed it. So this would not be much to ask of me, to get up at 3 in the morning and go make a video. So at 2:01, there was a thunderstorm happening, which is kind of almost becoming a regular nightly situation where I live. And I think that the thunder, I have a dog that has an anxiety disorder, and he didn't get his meds like he was supposed to yesterday, because there was so much busy going on I forgot. And so I think that thunderstorm is what kind of got him going. And so his crate's right next to my side of the bed, and he was up and whining and uncomfortable and, and agitated and everything. And it woke me up at 2:01 a.m. And I thought, okay, well, this isn't 3. And so I got up with him and took him out and let him do his business and brought him in. And as he was pacing, I got got his meds ready for him and gave him some meds and knew, he'd need about a half hour for them to kick in and he'd be feeling better. And so, went back, put him back in, got him back in his crate and settled in. And I mean, it's like having kids. And so I laid down, and it really was like maybe 2:20. It wasn't that late, maybe 2:15. It didn't take long to do all that. But I said, Lord, I kind of hope you don't get me up at 3, because I am so tired and it's so hard to open my eyes. It would be really nice if maybe I could just sleep. And then I felt kind of bad for saying that, and hoping that maybe he wouldn't get me up at 3 and I could go back to sleep. And then I thought, is that bad of me? Is that wrong? And then I remembered, as the Holy Spirit brought it to my mind, that Jesus, the night he was arrested in the garden, when he was praying to the Father, he had said, knowing full well what was about to take place, it says he knew everything that he was about to go through. And he said, if there's some other way, let this cup pass from me. In other words, if there's some other way we can do this so I don't have to go through it, that's what I want. I don't want to go through this, but nevertheless, not my will, but yours. So whatever you want me to do, Father, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do. And that's what Jesus did. And he went through everything he went through. And I mean, he didn't get any sleep that night. Clear up to noon, they were still questioning him and hitting him and spitting on him and making fun of him and calling him names and treating him horribly, torturing him. He didn't get any sleep. And then they crucified him. That's what he went through. Not because he ever did anything wrong, not because he deserved it, not because he should be going through it, but because I have sin, because you have sin. Every single one of us. That's who he did it for. All of us. We're the ones that were guilty. We're the ones that should have had to go through that. And I don't care how good you think you are. I know you have done something that is so horrible you don't want anybody to know about it. And it's like, my grandson asked me one day, we were talking about driving, had I gotten a lot of speeding tickets? And it's like, I've never gotten a speeding ticket. Never in my life. He goes, oh, that's so good that you drive that good and have never sped. And I'm like, oh, no, don't misunderstand. I've deserved a lot, but I've never received one. I never got caught. And now I'm the old lady that is under the speed limit. So I'm not too worried about it now. But, and I try to obey the laws a little bit more now than I did when I was younger. The one who deserved all that he went through, all that Jesus suffered, was me. It was you. But he did it in our place. Because could you die for your sins? Could I die for my? Yeah, we could be executed for our sins. We can die. We will die one day. But Jesus is God. And I know that there was this thing here a few years ago where people are saying Jesus never said he was God. We don't say that Jesus is God because he never said. You guys, that's why they wanted to arrest him. That's why they wanted to kill him. And, because he kept claiming to be God. Yeah, Jesus did say he was God over and over and over again. And it's true. So because he's God and because he has no sin, they were able to kill his body, but only temporarily. You see, the thing Jesus did that you can't do and I can't do was to come back from the dead, to raise himself from the dead. And so not only did his spirit continue to live, which our spirits will continue to live too, that doesn't come to an end, but he even resurrected his body and left an empty tomb. When they went to the grave, there was no body there. And it wasn't because it had been stolen, because that body was out walking around and talking to people. Because Jesus came back from the dead because he's God. He conquered death. And why did he do that? So that by believing in him and committing our lives to him, with that personal relationship with Jesus Christ, we can be raised up. We can live with him for all eternity. And I want that. It's not why I'm saved. Not to get that. I'm saved, honestly. Now, it's because I love him so much. And I long to be with him. It's not because I'm trying to get fire insurance and escape hell. Oh, at one time that was what had my attention. But now, no. It's because the one who loves me most is where I get to spend all of eternity with him. Why would I want to be anywhere else? Okay, so as I laid there thinking I really don't want to get up, I'm really hoping you let me fall back to sleep. But you know what? If at 3, and I thought, I could just, by this point it was 2:30, I thought I could just get up and go make the video now and probably get an extra half hour sleep by getting up a half hour early, because he's probably going to get me up. But then it's like, no, because he might not, because I said at 3, that was the time. So really, if I drift off and start going into a deep sleep and he wakes me up at 3, that's going to be even more miserable and more challenging for me to obey him. And that's what I'm going to do. So I laid there and kind of drifted in and out. And then at 3 o'clock, something stirred or whatever and woke me up. And I looked at the clock and it was 3. And it's like, okay. By the time I got my feet over the side of the bed and pulled myself together, it was 3:01. And I thought, well, I better go visit the bathroom. I'm an old woman in the middle of the night. So by the time I had that taken care of, I know, too much information, but it was 3:04. And it's like, what I really want to do, my flesh wants to climb back in that bed and go to sleep. But I told the Lord I'd get up. And I believe, okay, that I should keep my word to him. And he's telling me, get up. It's 3 o'clock, so I'm going to obey him. So I got up and I left my messy hair, my bed hair, just the way it was, to testify of getting up in the middle of the night out of that bed to do what he told me to do. And so when I came out to the living room, and as I laid in bed, I knew this video is what I needed to make. This is the one. It's about the obedience and the importance of keeping our word with God and being obedient to him. Nothing's more important. No matter how much other people may try to discourage you or tell you you're a fool or whatever, or how tired you are, keeping our word to him and being obedient to him, that's more important. So I got up, and because I love the word, I walked past my Bible to come into the kitchen, and I'm like, I'm going to go back and just read a chapter. And then I read another chapter, and a half hour passed, and then I was ready to come in here. I sat down and I made a video, and just as it was getting toward the end, and talking about how even Satan cannot just, he cannot mess up God. That video froze and cut off and went nuts. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. See, I am determined to follow through. So that's what I've done. And I'm here sharing this with you because I don't know where you're at right now. I don't know what you're going through. And this is the part that the enemy really seemed to hate in the last video. But if there's something that you need to keep your word to him, or something that he's asking you to do, and even if it doesn't make sense, I want to encourage you to do whatever it is the Lord's told you to do. Obey him. He'll not tell you to do something wrong or sinful. No. He will speak truth into you, and he will have you do things that bring life. But being faithful to him, it matters. So those neighbors that you feel you're not supposed to invite over for a Bible study, do it. Take the chance. If they say no, that's okay. What's important is that if God told you to go invite them and to do that, then do it. That change in your finances of committing more money to helping others instead of yourself. If he told you to do that, then do it. Don't worry. Don't worry about what you might be lacking. You're not going to be lacking anything, because my God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. He will. He is faithful. I can tell you because I know he's been taking care of me my entire life. Even way back in my mother's womb, he was taking care of me and protecting me and getting me through hard things. Following Jesus doesn't necessarily mean that our circumstances will change. The hard things that come will still come, but he'll take us through it. And I'll tell you this, I know the difference between when he takes me through something or when I try to take me through it. I'll go with him anytime. Me, not so much. So I hope this is encouraging to you, and that if you're facing a challenge right now, something you know you're supposed to do and you're just really not sure about it because it might be uncomfortable, do it. All that sleepiness I was feeling before, it lifted so I could do this. And when I go back in and lay down, it'll come back. And I'll probably have the sweetest sleep I've had in a long time because I obeyed God. So there, how's that? I hope it helps. I love you guys, and yeah, if this is how we've got to meet for a while, so be it. It's all in God's hands. It's all according to his will, not mine. All right. I love you, and hopefully I'll be talking to you again real soon.